In 2017, Samsung's revenue was $206.49 billion. Samsung has over 300,000 employees. They pull in $6,500 every second, and their construction team was actually the people who built the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which is the tallest building in the world currently. But where did such a monstrous company come from? But before we get into that, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you guys would like to see more origin stories just like this one. Samsung was founded by Lee Byung-chul in 1938. Lee was from a large land-owning family in Urang country, and he founded Samsung in a nearby city named Daegu. At first, Samsung was a simple, small trading company with just 40 employees located in Sudong. They simply dealt with dried fish and locally grown groceries and noodles. The company flourished, and Lee eventually moved its head office to Seoul in 1947. Unfortunately, when the Korean War broke out, he had to leave Seoul. Meanwhile, he founded a sugar refinery in Busan named Cheil Jae-dang. Furthermore, in 1954, Lee founded Cheil Mojik, and it became the largest woolen mill ever in the country. Lee always wanted Samsung to be diverse and a leader in a variety of fields, and as a result, he experimented with insurance, securities, and retail. In 1947, Cho Hong-jae, who was the founder of the Hyosung Group, and Lee got together and jointly invested into a new company named Samsung Mulsan Gonsa, or Samsung Trading Corporation. However, soon after, they had differences in management styles, and they ended up splitting into Samsung Group, Hyosung Group, Hankook Tire, and other businesses. In the late 1960s, Samsung entered the electronics industry, and their first product was the black and white television set. Later, in 1980, Samsung acquired Hankook Jeonja Tongsin and were able to enter the telecommunications hardware line. At first, they produced switchboards, but soon they got into telephone and fax manufacturing systems and eventually transitioned into mobile phone manufacturing. Today, they have manufactured over 800 million mobile phones. If you divide that equally among the population, then you'd see that 1 in every 10 people have a Samsung phone, which is absolutely insane. Anyways, unfortunately, there was some trouble coming up for Samsung. Lee died in 1987, and Samsung Group was separated into 4 business groups, which were Samsung Group, Shinsegae Group, CJ Group, and Hansol Group. Since then, these groups still remain independent. Many representatives and executives from these groups have assured that they have been completely independent from Samsung since the split. In the early 1980s, Samsung Electronics began to invest lots of money into research and development. These investments are thought to be a game changer for Samsung and responsible for bringing Samsung to the forefront of global electronics industry. For example, in 1982, they built a television assembly plant in Portugal. In 1984, they built another one in New York, and then one in Tokyo in 1985, one in England in 1987, and then a huge one in Austin in 1996. As of 2012, Samsung has invested more than $13 billion in the Austin facility, and this represents one of the largest single foreign investments in the US. In the 1990s, Samsung began to rise as an international company, and they began diversifying beyond just electronics. For example, Samsung's construction branch was able to build one of the Petronas Towers in Malaysia, Taipei 101 in Taiwan, and even the Burj Khalifa in the United Arab Emirates. In 1993, Lee Kun-hee sold off many of Samsung's subsidiaries and focused on electronics, engineering, and chemicals. Throughout the 90s, Samsung achieved many great feats. In 1992, they became the world's largest producer of memory chips and the second largest chipmaker after Intel. In 1995, it created its first liquid crystal display, or LCD screen. In just 10 years, Samsung grew to be the world's largest manufacturer of LCD panels. Samsung even survived the 1997 Asian financial crisis. However, Samsung was forced to sell Samsung Motor to Renault at a significant loss. On top of this, Samsung even manufactured a range of aircrafts. they co-founded a company named KAI along with Daewoo Heavy Industries and Hyundai Space and Aircraft Company. Today, Samsung still manufactures aircraft engines and gas turbines. Samsung opened up a computer programming laboratory in Warsaw, Poland in 2000 and slowly transitioned into digital and smartphones. And soon enough, Samsung came out with their first smartphone, the Samsung Solstice line of devices, and other variations in 2008. This eventually evolved into Galaxy and Note lines. In 2011, Samsung sold their hard disk drive business to Seagate, and at the beginning of that year, Samsung became the world's largest mobile phone maker by unit sales and overtook Nokia, who had dominated the market since 1998. However, it wasn't all good news for Samsung. In 2012, 9 American jurors ruled that Samsung had to pay Apple $1.05 billion for violating 6 of Apple's patents on smartphone technology. But even after this, Apple wasn't satisfied. Apple attempted to ban the sale of 8 Samsung phones, which included phones like the Galaxy S2 and Galaxy S Showcase. However, this did not work out in Apple's favor. In 2013, a New Zealand news outlet reported that many Samsung washing machines spontaneously caught on fire. In 2014, Samsung officially shut down their streaming service, Samsung Music Hub. However, at the same time, Samsung was still making huge strides forward. In the same year, Samsung announced Gear VR, their $14.7 billion investment to build a chip plant in South Korea, and announced their plans investing $560 million into the construction of a new 700,000 square meter production complex in Vietnam. Samsung also revealed their upcoming service, Samsung 360 Services. Finally, they also announced that they are going to sell fiber optics to Coming Inc. In 2016, Samsung released a fitness smartwatch called the Gear Fit 2 and wireless earbuds named the Gear Icon X. However, Samsung was unaware that they were going to face a huge issue later that same year. Their Galaxy Note 7 smartphone was notorious for producing excessive heat, which even led to fires and explosions. As a result, Samsung recalled these phones just a month after its release. Samsung brought out a new version of the Galaxy Note 7, but those too were plagued with the same issue as its predecessor, and Samsung ultimately halted production of this phone altogether. Throughout 2017, Samsung continued releasing phones, and fortunately these worked much better for them. Today, Samsung has a huge slew of businesses, including Samsung Electronics, Engineering, Everland, Fine Chemicals, Industries, Insurance, and countless more. And they have been able to pull in $6,500 every second. So, what happens next for Samsung? Will they just cruise through phones launches and solidify their position? Or will they attempt something creative and invest in space exploration or something like that? Make sure to post what you guys think is next for Samsung. Also, make sure to drop a like if you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe to discover the origins of many more companies. But until next time, bye.